Alabama with a big win over Tennessee, 34-20. It was a beautiful thing at Bryant-Denny Stadium. First half, terrible. Second half, perfect. We're going to talk about it. Jay Coker, Mick Gillispie. Elephant in the room on Roll Tide Pods. Guys, our show is presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. You're making your plays. Check out MyBookie. And I'm telling you, if you need a little bit of help, maybe putting those picks together, Lance's Lock. They'll help you kind of get there a little bit better than my start to the season. I think I'm kind of even in ship out now, but two really cool combos right there. MyBookie.ag. Use the promo code next round, and they'll do for the first time. They'll give you that 110% match on your deposit. So it's definitely worth it as we talk football here on our show. First off, thanks to R&R Cigars for giving us this is the cigar that Saban was chewing on. He doesn't smoke them.
Appreciate it, fellas.
And they gave it
once
to us.
A year cigar, gotta love it.
Yeah, we got the door open here in the studio. We lit these babies up. What's up, brother? How you been, man?
Man, doing a lot better after the second half of that game this weekend. My gosh. That the second half is the Alabama I expected to show up this game. And you know what? Thank God that defense stood up the way they did, because could have been in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But I was wrong, well, at least on the first half, about Joe Milton. Showed up, played the game of his life, and again, kind of went downhill after that first half, thank goodness. But he wasn't the guy I was expecting to see in that first half. Yeah,
and you kind of scared me, because you're like, well, when Alabama loses, and you're right, the guy that they lose to always has like the game of their life. That Squirrel White touchdown in the corner of the end zone, it's a hell of a catch, man. I got to give them credit. Like, that first half of football was a good first half.
Yeah, the most impressive one to me was the one right before the half ended.
Right, and I like the defensive call.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's cover zero. You better backpedal and get the ball out, and you got to have touch on the move. And he lays it out there for the tight end or fullback. And, that guy makes a play, and I'm sitting there like, I just watched this guy shoot fake arrows at our team, and he's just dicing us up like it's no big deal.
Great arm. He's a great athlete, too.
Oh, yeah.
Tennessee's got their shit going in the right direction.
Yeah, they just seem like a team with not a whole lot of leadership.
They don't have that offense. They probably need to go and buy Joe Milton. I'm sorry, Jalen Milroe would fit perfectly in that offense. You know what I'm talking about? Like, where everybody goes deep, and the way he throws the football. Milton definitely is. We saw the best of Milton. I don't think the second half was the worst of Milton. I just thought that Alabama, Malachi Moore, man, he just jumps your route.
Oh, man.
He's dangerous. Assassin.
Well, I don't know if you saw Coach Saban talking about the fumble recovery for a touchdown, but, on TV, you can't really see how well those DBs are breaking on the ball. But, man, when they zoom out and actually show it, it's amazing to me. Like how quickly Malachi,
I saw it.
Terrion Arnold, all those guys are just, as soon as that guy plants his foot, man, and you got to be careful about double moves, but when he plants his foot, man, they're there. So either you don't throw it, or you better anticipate so well that it's impossible for him to get there, to make an interception. But it just makes it so difficult on a quarterback. And then you start second guessing yourself after a while, because they're just there. They're everywhere,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought that Tennessee played a hell of a first half. I was very concerned, not going to lie. So were you. So was everybody. But it wasn't, I didn't feel like, honestly, like that last touchdown, I don't know if it's too soon to say this. I'm loving some Kevin Steele defense, man.
Oh, man.
Get in their face. Like, if you're going down, go down swinging.
Oh, yeah.
And that last touchdown, like, they couldn't have done it any better.
Oh, yeah.
But let's not sit back here and just give it away.
I love aggression on the football field. I love aggressive calls. I love, I love it when a defense coordinator dials it up and trusts his players to make plays, because at the end of the day, that's what you're doing. You got to rely on your DBs to cover those guys, and you got to rely on your guys to get there You know, I don't want somebody nickeling and diming us down the field because we just sit back and let them.
Yeah,
you know,
that's how I feel too.
I mean, I want to be aggressive. I want to put them behind the sticks, and that's what he's doing. It's just, it's incredible how far this defense has come in the last couple of years. But man, this 6-week period, I mean, have you felt like you've ever seen a defense that's improved that much over that short?
It's been a while, you know, like
seems like we've found ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I had a caller on my post-game show. I think I told you this on the phone. I'm going to say it here for everybody. Brett from Walker County. He told me that Alabama has more personalities than his ex-wife. I'm like, I could see that. I don't really know anymore. Like, I don't know what to expect. I just don't but I know that they're a damn good team.
Well, now it just seems like if our defense can keep us in the game long enough for the offense to wake up, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, who would have thought? Did you take Alabama this weekend?
Yes.
I mean, in the first half, are you like? I mean, did you think they would?
I'm thinking I took them.
And the second half bet.
No, hedge that thing. No, I took them, and I honestly I was like, man, I hate betting Alabama. I hate betting Alabama. There's been the year that the year after you left, I won Alabama every week. I was so tapped in on that team.
Yeah.
You know? And then but then there's been years like this where I'm always like Dennis Franchione used to say this, and when I was a student I covered Alabama, and that was like he would talk, and we would talk to the coordinators. Like it was a lot different, like the way that the media interacted.
Yeah. And
he would always say, like, in football, and I believe he's exactly right, sometimes you're a play ahead and sometimes you're a play behind. And when you get a play behind, it's hard to catch up. And I feel like Alabama was a play ahead the whole second half. I've been behind this Alabama team all year when it comes to just not knowing, the only game that I really was sure about was Mississippi State, I think. And what was the other one? I put a video out on it. I picked against them on my show, but it was because I'm superstitious. Texas A&M.
Oh, yeah.
But I really thought I am superstitious too. You know, I wore my Lucky socks. You know, like my Bama socks. I did all that stuff. I don't even know.
Those aren't the socks you don't wash. Right?
No. These are good. They're like this. I got them at the soup store. They're they got the big stripes around them, and they. Yeah. But I don't know. This is a hard team to handicap. To me,
you know, it's the public hates Alabama so much that it's almost like if you get this weekend, a 9.5 point line. I was big on Bama for this weekend. Wasn't big on them when that, at halftime, but I just felt like when I saw that line, I just knew they were going to show up and play, and luckily they did in the second half. But again, after halftime, I was like, well, hopefully we can just kick a field goal to win or something. But that was one of the most unbelievable second half performances. We outscored them 27-0 in the second half.
Yeah,
is that right?
I think it's the first time Heupel's been shut out in a half, and then it's the biggest. I think they said it's the biggest come from behind win at Bryant-Denny in 25 years. Yeah, because you guys are hardly ever behind in Tuscaloosa.
Oh yeah, well
but things are different now, man.
Yeah, and here's what you get shut out in the second half. You can't blame the refs when you don't score a point in the second half.
Yeah. I've talked to a few Tennessee fans, and they're like, well, Alabama had one penalty for 5 yards. It's not even comparable to last year to me. The Coolio, I keep calling him Coolio, the Kool-Aid play, and where last year where he intercepts the ball and
the game was over.
Yeah, and they call and the dude,
and a guy comes across the field, throws the flag. It's
felt like he had some money riding on the game. It just felt like that. I don't know if he did or not.
It was one of those. It was like that guy was like, "Oh, can't let this happen."
No. They're going to cover that spread. And then the two times that Bryce was hit, one time in the jaw, And they didn't, and they, you know how you get a book now where it says like, here's all the things you can't do to the quarterback.
Oh yeah.
How about the forearm shiver?
Oh my.
What's the call on that? You know, I mean, Bama played a clean game, and it's not like they had a bunch of penalties. They had 5 pre-snap penalties. You can't. Our guy has trouble snapping the ball. You can't sit there and clap in front of him and make it work.
Oh yeah.
And then there were 3 holdings. One of the holdings was shit to me, but 2 of them were I thought were legit. You know, I mean, the one was shit. The one was I was like, come on, man, that's not. I don't know. But I'm not standing there either. You know.
Yeah. The only what I hate now is that, well, one big issue we're going to have is this whole punt return situation.
Well, I was going to get into this.
My God.
All right, let's go there because I was going to bring it up, but you brought it up now. So.
That was the most glaring one of the. I mean,
that was the worst thing in the whole game.
We've lost 50 yards just in punt returns.
This is what I think. You know, I remember as a kid returning punt. I loved the return punts, right? When I was a little skinny kid, not in this level, but it's a freaking car accident.
Oh,
you know,
man.
so you got to catch the ball. And when I was like younger, like I could catch the ball and make a move and get that first guy out of the way and then run. These guys are way faster and way stronger. And so I'm not, and I was
waiting until you're going to get to that.
No. Yeah. And I'm not putting it down. I'm putting him down on this. You know, I don't know that I would want to do it either, but if he doesn't want to do it, he's got to get out of the way and let the next guy do it.
Yeah.
Or Saban just needs to be like, you know what? Because you got to catch those balls. Yeah. And I said that post game, and I noticed
even
it.
If you say,
I noticed it last game too, but this week it was so obvious.
It could have been horrible.
It could have been horrible. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to me, punt returns, especially nowadays, I mean, you rarely see a guy bring a punt back. I mean, they can be game. If you got Jalen Waddle, you know, that's one thing. But I mean, I almost
if you have Javi Arenas. Remember him?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Christian Jones.
Oh yeah,
that guy could return some kicks.
Yeah, if you got just some you know baller back, and he is good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but you can't hurt more than you help.
Yeah, I just don't think he wants to do it.
Yeah,
I think the tough part about where he's at right now is he's probably knowing that I'm going to make a ton of money. He's probably already making good money, but he's going to make a ton of money at the next level. And you just don't want to get clipped out there returning a punt. Or maybe he just doesn't want to fumble.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Maybe he just doesn't want to make a mistake.
I think it's more nerves about, hey, you know, if I'm have any uncertainty about catching this ball, I'm getting away from it.
Yeah. But the two late in the game, I'm screaming at the TV. But at the same time, and I'm going to say this again, and like I said on the post game, it is like you have to have. Are you a NASCAR guy?
No.
I grew up in a NASCAR family, and I mean, like Sundays at my grandparents' house were NASCAR, one football.
Yeah.
And you get into some of these tracks like Talladega, and you got to have balls of steel.
Oh yeah.
To get in there going 212 miles an hour and know that the guy in front of you like gets clipped off and when you lose that nerve to do that, you can't race anymore.
Oh yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean by that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not
holding that against him. I don't know if I'd want to.
I've always said, I mean, the guy with the biggest balls is returning punts.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
who was your guys returner?
Let's see. Oh, Cyrus Jones.
Oh yeah, he was good too.
Yeah, him, and then Eddie Jackson followed him.
Yeah, I remember. I should know all this, and I do, but I forget.
Yeah, you know? Cyrus was damn good at it. Yeah. He brought back
Javi Arenas was the best though. I'm no offense to anybody else. Javi Arenas, that dude was amazing.
LSU,
yes, you remember that one?
LSU was insane.
He was just like he was made to do it. You know, he was the perfect
body style.
Kind of thick but short. And the quick, like you got to have that first. It all comes down to me to that you catch the ball and you do that quick sidestep. before they know what like it's like a basketball player.
You got to be able to juke out of the
yes,
way. That,
you juke
that
the first
defender,
guy,
yeah,
boom, and
then you stick it, yeah,
and then you right, and you look for a block or whatever. Yeah, I'm sure that and I feel bad for him too because Kool-Aid's awesome, man. I mean, I think this is Kool-Aid the biggest issue that Kool-Aid
I feel bad for a punt returner when they drop a ball to lose the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
mm-hmm.
He's got time to get better and learn and all that. I mean, he's just got to figure it out. But if you don't want to do it, just put the guy in there with the best hands. He may not be able to return punts very well, but you just know he's not going to drop the ball and then move on.
I think that
because a turnover, a drop punt, a muff punt, turnover is one of the worst turnovers outside of a block punt.
Right.
This is the worst turnover in football.
Think about this though. I put myself in this category, right? Didn't grow up with a lot of money. Okay. Had to really work hard to get where I'm at. And I'm not going to be where he's going to be at. And I don't know I really have never been to his house. I don't know, what his parents make or, where he comes from. But he's like 4 games and the playoffs or whatever Alabama does away from a pot of gold. And that makes it tough to me, man. Like,
I don't think that's
you don't even think that way?
No, I don't think so. I think he just doesn't want to hurt the team. I think he gets nervous about, I think he just thinks about, I might drop this. I'm getting out of the way.
Right. Like, I don't want to make a mistake here.
Yeah.
And cost the guys. That could be it too. Well,
I mean, you think that he dropped the one that rolled 15 yards and they'd have gotten the ball. I mean, that's where I think we were still down 4 at that point.
Maryland had this guy named Steve Suter, who was like, when they were really good with Ralph Friedgen as head coach, and the dude would like run into the crowd, catch the ball, and then somehow he would end up on the other side of everybody.
Oh yeah,
running down the field. Like, it was like magic. There's an art to doing this.
Oh yeah,
Well,
and again, I always say, like I just said, it takes some balls to catch punts. I mean, I used to, say, man, it is tough throwing a ball when you're about to get just hammered.
Yeah.
But that guy hadn't run 40 yards at a full sprint and just decleated you.
Right.
He's trying to hit you hard, but he's gotten off a few blocks, or maybe he got a clean blitz and he got a 10-yard head start. But man, when you're running a 40-yard dash just with no other intent outside of just ending this guy's career in front of you, I mean,
that was my biggest negative on the game, though.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a punt returner or a holder. Two worst positions in football.
That's another job. Honestly, Lucy from the Peanuts made that job famous. Pulling the ball back on Charlie so much. But that's another one. I was always afraid to get my finger kicked.
Coach, we used after practice, Bobby Williams, our tight ends coach, he's like, look, I want you to go over there, take a few holds, see how you like it. We need you to go do it. I'm like, yes, sir. I'll be over there after practice. And practice would end, and I'd head straight to the locker room.
Sorry, man.
And he used to give me shit all the time. I was like, coach, I forgot.
Yeah, right. No one to do that job. The things that you don't want to do on the football field. Yeah. I want my son to learn how to punt, man. That'd be a fun job. If you ever learn, like Burnham can punt, or how about Reichert? I mean,
that guy's he's a handyman.
Oh, he's great.
Foot.
Yeah, he is.
Do whatever you want.
Superfoot. Yeah. I love him.
J.K. Scott was our punter when I was there.
Yeah,
that guy.
Dude, we used to have updates on the tailgate show, the one with Barron and Mike and Ben George. And we would just do like a quick segment on J.K. Scott every week. He's got to be in the NFL still.
I think he is.
He's got to be, man.
He'll be up there forever.
Yeah, he's like Reichert will be there forever.
Oh well, I mean, J.K. He wouldn't. You'd never see him out. He didn't drink. He didn't do. He just kicked. He was like the only punter. Like usually the specialists are like the guys you're like, if you're going to get experimental, go hang out with those guys. Yeah, right. Great guys. Yeah. But JK was like, I mean, he was in the cold tub at like 5:30 in the morning, seeing the trainers getting stretched out, and then he'd go punt the ball about 80 yards.
No one likes those guys until they really like them. You know what I mean by that? Once you kind of establish yourself, you're the man.
Yeah, if you've got Tim Tebow's personality, you better be pretty damn good.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He won me over. I'm going to tell you, Tim Tebow won me over.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mean that as
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I mean.
No, I know. Like
because you get a guy with like no flaws.
Yeah,
you're like, all right, there's something.
There's got to be an issue.
There's something here.
I'm going to tell you.
But he's just proven himself to be that guy. I mean, I think I love Tim Tebow.
Me too, but I didn't.
But you've been around that guy in the locker room, and he's one of those guys that takes a while to I guess come on to and realize he's a really good guy.
This is what happens. Okay. Well, first off, let me tell you about Tim Tebow. So Tim Tebow recruited by Alabama, right? Shula.
Yeah.
And they had it on TV. It was like a show, like this, and they're in the damn guy's house, and they got like Florida Christmas ornaments. He's got like gators and they're everywhere. The mailbox is gators,
Yeah.
And we're spending all of our time trying to get this guy.
Yeah.
And then signing day comes and he's like, "Oh, shucks, I'm going to Florida." And it's like, well, no shit.
Yeah.
And he really was a difference maker. And so there was always this animosity. And then 2008, they beat us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at the game and I'm like, we could have beat these guys. Like we could have beat these guys. Like, and the team knew that too afterwards. Javi stepped out of bounds on a punt return. They had like 4 plays in the game that cost them. And I said on here before, Mike Johnson said we had the wrong goals. He's a 2-time All-American. He said we should have had the goal to win the national championship, not to get to Atlanta.
Yeah.
So the next year, Alabama plays a perfect game. 2009, I'm there. And I'd gotten Gator chomped, and they talk a lot of shit too, the Florida fans.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not. Look, I don't have. If you wear jean shorts, I don't have a problem with it. Okay, I don't care if that's your thing. But they're just they're just walking out of there in 2008. I'm like, these people, man. Like I'm trying to go out and they're doing this in my face and everything.
Oh yeah.
So the next year, we win and I see Tebow on the sideline crying.
Oh,
and then I see him interviewed, and I'm like, I love this guy. He's like, I want these guys to win the national championship. They're a great team.
Oh yeah.
I love Alabama. I didn't go there. And I'm thinking like the humility.
Oh,
you can't fake that. In those moments, that's when your real character shows up.
Oh yeah.
Which I would have been like LeBron. I would have hauled ass to the locker room, got my shit out of there. This guy, he's just different, man. But it takes those guys a while to win you over because you're just it's you know what I'm saying? Like he's a special breed, man.
Yeah, you just can't tell. It's like I don't know. You have some of those guys that show up and they're goofy as hell, like a good time, and you all kind of get along, but then you meet that one guy who's
legit.
He just I mean, a lot of times it's not legit.
He's real. He's real. Yeah,
and you're like questioning, and like they say in that documentary, Swamp Kings. Remember, they're like, there's no way this guy is this way,
right.
And then they get to know him. And they're like, he really is like he's. Going home, studying film, and reading his Bible before he goes to sleep, and that's great.
He's what you want your kids to be like.
Oh yeah,
you want to be like him.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I mean, honestly, like being around Jay Barker, I always feel like this is the kind of guy that you want to be like. I mean, I'm just going to tell you, Mike, as just a friend, and I hope somebody tells Jay this. I text him on Friday. What are you doing, man? I want to hang out with you. Like, there's a positive energy that people have that you get around and you're like, man, this is legitimately a good person.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean by that?
I've met Jay, I don't know, a handful of times, but that's always the kind of vibe I've got.
Who he is.
Yeah. Seems like a great guy.
You can't fake that. There's a certain amount of time where it's like, all right, he's a great guy. Yeah. Why is he hanging out with a scumbag like me?
That's right. No, but I don't think I've ever met anybody who said anything bad about Jay. It's always been
because he's a good dude. Yeah. So yeah, that was the negative of the game. Ever since Ryan Anderson came in here, I'm gonna get you one over here in a second. I'll get you talking here and then load you up. Yeah, I'm going. I got you. I got you a next round koozie.
There we go.
You'll like this. Don't take it home though.
There we go.
Look at that next round. Chris Braswell's sack, and then you saw that Nick Saban said, "Look, if he throws it, we're intercepting it." I love hearing that, man. I just love the fact that we're like figuring it out now.
Oh well, that's the thing is. I mean, when you see that, so when you have receivers at Alabama, I mean, if I've got pretty much a one-on-one matchup, I don't care what my guy's running. I mean, maybe on a deep route where the defender gets a little bit physical and he gets knocked off his route and he's not able to finish, with the right angles. You kind of get thrown off. But usually, man, especially in that coverage, you get a curl or, man, that's I think either a curl or a comeback. I mean, when Amari Cooper's running that, when Ardarius Stewart's running that, Calvin Ridley, I mean, everybody was so afraid of them. When they make a break, when they stick, they're so explosive, they couldn't keep up. And I don't know what Terry and Arnold will do against those guys or Malachi Moore, but when you see that as a quarterback, when a guy mirrors those sticks and that comeback, it makes you start second guessing every throw you make because then you start wondering, okay, if I do anticipate and throw this, like he's going to beat him and he doesn't, that's a pick six.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you got to worry about that.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you're taught to anticipate and throw it before he breaks.
Right.
He's just coming out of his break, but that's kind of anticipation that your guy's going to win too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love watching Campbell break down the field with the ball, and then that's when things went crazy at R&R Cigars.
I wish I could have seen.
I wish you'd been there, man. In the stadium. I don't know, man. I hate to say this, but I just going to the games. I don't feel like the concessions are up to my par yet, So, and when they get that all figured out, I'll come back.
Oh yeah.
And we've talked about this before. When I can get a drink in like
that's the biggest key to the
5
game.
minutes or less, I'll be back.
That's the biggest key to going to a game versus staying at home is literally the bathroom and the fridge.
Yep, that's it.
And if the atmosphere is greater than those two factors, then that's when I go to games.
Yeah, I was like, I had that moment, like I was out there, and I'm like, do I go? Do I not go? Do I go? Do I not go? I'm like, I don't feel like going. Like I'm just gonna walk down there, and got a burger and went over there, and I enjoyed it, man. Like I've been to so many games in person.
Yeah,
I think that if this team goes to the playoff, I'll probably go.
Yeah, this would be a great team to watch in the playoff. Yeah,
because if they figure it out, if they do 2 quarters a game of what we saw in the second half, watch out, man.
Oh yeah, and Jalen again, man, he's figuring it out. Well, the
offensive line was a little better too.
They were.
They're getting the young guys are starting not to
a lot better.
They're not getting their ass kicked anymore.
Yeah, it was a lot better. And when you've got Jalen running the ball as well, and you're incorporating those receivers in that blocking scheme. I mean, it's going to be dangerous if we get a really, really balanced offensive look.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, Jalen, again, like we were talking, Jalen just got to figure out how to not take the beating that he takes when he runs the ball.
He's so tough, but man, yeah, maybe read the blitzes a little bit better.
No, I'm talking when he's running. I mean, I saw him take a shot right in the head. I mean, I guess it was in the fourth quarter. But I was like, dude, you got to get down. And I've made this statement prior, and we talked about this as I was telling you earlier. It's like it's running the ball as a quarterback is kind of like being a bully. You got to pick your battles. The ones you know you're going to win, take them on. But when you know you're about to get mauled, you got to get down. And I mean, some of those runs I saw him make, like the one on the sideline, he stiff arms the guy, and I mean that's the one. Hey, take him on.
Yeah.
when you got one guy on your back and you see two coming, you can't sit there and try to fight run over a guy when you're already handicapped.
I still don't think he's 100% running, but he's getting there again, in my opinion. And I know we differ.
He looked pretty good.
We differ on our feelings on maybe something happened before that Texas A&M game, but I still don't think he's got. When he's 100%, he is the fastest guy on the field. He was pretty fast this week.
Yeah, fast, and he's huge.
Well,
too.
who wants to bring that dude down, man? That's like I used to play football with this little guy, and his move would be run at you and then just take your legs out. Like you know what I'm talking about? Like you're in the same team.
Fake you out like he's going to hit you in the head.
Yeah, like you would come around the corner with the ball, and then you'd be like, you want to truck him, and then he would like just roll up under your legs, and you'd be like fly in the air. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. You're like dive in the air, like
the little guy's got to figure it out somehow.
Yeah, right. He's going right for your ankle. You know. I don't know that I'd want to be the guy to have to take him out on a dead sprint, but
that's like I used to watch guys. I mean, if you go back and watch some of those games in 2015, and it's so funny. Like I'd hand it to Derek and I'd turn around and I'd watch him run, and safeties would come hauling ass on a straight line. He'd be running this way. They'd haul ass on a straight line and take the wrong angle on purpose just so they could kind of try to either catch him from the back or get him from the side.
Yeah.
Taking him from head on was not an option.
No. Well, he was such an animal, man. Like,
oh, man, I tell you. I mean, I wouldn't want to
tackle him, dude. You know? And the speed. I was in Jacksonville one time, and they were playing the Jaguars were playing the Titans. And he's just throwing dudes around. And it got to the point where they didn't want to tackle him.
Is that when he made it like a 99-yard
run?
Yeah.
They just didn't want to touch him anymore.
Oh, yeah. They were done.
Yeah, like just like everybody in the bar is like, oh.
I don't tweet much, but I tweeted after that one like 90-yard run.
He's like stiff-arming guys and stuff.
He stiff-armed one guy, and it was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
the second guy, he like grabs him and just tosses
him out of the way. Yeah. That's how it was. The running game was good. The offensive line run blocked, but Chase McClellan had his best game. I think his best game as an Alabama running back. He tough runs, just wouldn't go down. And and the other thing is that
physicality. It looked like he was timing up his runs a little.
Yeah, he's getting better at it. Yeah. And also like waiting on the blocks and finding the holes, and that takes experience.
It's so weird. It seems like there's some guys who, I mean, some guys take their time and pick their holes, and then some guys are so good at just getting it and just hammering the hole.
Right.
I mean, seems like he's really starting to figure out get comfortable back there,
mm-hmm.
Reading his blocks and understanding when he needs to hit the hole and when he needs to keep working the scheme. So
Jermaine Burton had two, and I think the best catch he ever had at Alabama. He caught the ball, and then he's like,
that one over the middle, that
and then
over route,
he just comes right through, and like you're like, okay, how did he catch that? And then how are they not tackling him right now? We're not turning the ball over a lot, Milroe got hit and fumbled, but the running backs don't fumble the ball. And the turnovers. I mean, they did have a turnover, but they get turnovers too. This defense,
the one interception is, man coverage, he throws it up there, and Hope Burton makes a play. It looked like he got a little off balance and couldn't at least keep it from being intercepted,
Mm-hmm.
Understand the throw. It's just one of those that, happens 10% of the time.
Yeah.
Unlucky bounce, defender made kind of a lucky play, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
But again, overall, man, I like Jalen a lot. He had a few overthrows, but
you've been on him. You've said from the beginning, you were kind of at the beginning. You're like, I like him.
Yeah, I mean, after that Texas game, that's when he made throws I didn't think he could make. Made a few bad throws too, but at least you could see the potential in him.
Yeah,
And again, the media and the fans. I mean, they put such a high standard on a guy who starts his first 3 games. It's just
he's a sophomore.
Yeah,
I've been reminded about that a few times.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we've been spoiled, man. I mean, it's like the guy, like watching the NFL last night, and it's Tua against Jalen Hurts, and you're like, and they're just doing crazy shit out there.
Oh yeah.
Those teams are going to be in it to the end.
Oh yeah, they might. Well, I don't know if they're not in the same division, are they?
No.
Yeah, so that could be a Super Bowl matchup.
I could see that. Really, this year's NFL. Don't sleep on the Ravens. Don't sleep on the Ravens. About that win they had.
He's one who just went through the ringer with the media the last couple of years, and now look at him. Yeah. And Mac, I think is.
I can't believe, honestly, dude. I can't believe he's turned into the player he's turned into.
Man, when I came and saw Tua,
even believe it.
I saw his first spring game when had been in Alabama for like 3 weeks. I remember walking through the tunnel and I see him he throws an over route, but he's pressure. He steps up in the pocket and he throws it way before he's supposed to. I mean, just anticipated and got the ball out. And I was like, I think I was still standing next to Ellis Ponder. I was like, who in the hell is that?
Yeah.
And he was like, that's our new freshman. That's Tua.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. I remember hearing the name. I was like, he's as good as advertised. And I had seen one play. I was like, this guy's going to be good.
Yeah. I went on an exchange program to University of Hawaii and didn't know much about the place. And you play sports out there, but just pickup games and stuff. And I was on the rugby team, the UH rugby team. And I got to know a lot of like Samoan dudes and guys from Hawaii. And I was just so blown away at how fast they play and how talented those guys are. That island it's crazy how many good players they have now.
Most of them go to Oregon and USC.
Yes,
I feel like.
or BYU.
Yeah.
Or BYU too. Yeah, and some Washington.
You think Hawaii would be better.
Yeah, but they don't.
But they don't get any of the guys, I guess.
A lot of the big
Which
time.
Is surprising. You'd think they'd stick around and.
Well, if they built like a legitimate program and they got the guys, the Samoan guys and the the locals and stuff, they'd have a pretty good team. But when Alabama got him, and there was another guy, I forget his name, but they had another guy too from out there that was on defense that was pretty good. And I'm like, man, these guys we're okay. Oh, yeah. To'o. Yeah, I think he was from out there too, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, man,
Tennessee though.
Yeah, transferred. Yeah. But I mean, like Tua, I was disappointed when his brother transferred to Maryland because it'd be his job right now this year.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you just leave.
You want it now, but think about the players you have around you. You're at Maryland and you got a decent team, but you don't have
How old was his little brother? How old is he now? Is he a senior now?
I don't know what year he is, but I'll tell you that I broadcasted a county high against Thompson high school football game as the play-by-play guy, and it was 59-17 at the half.
Yeah.
At the half. And that guy was it was like watching another Tua.
Yeah.
And
he's right-handed, isn't he?
Yeah, right-handed too. No, he's a right-hander, but he's good too. But I guess you look at you look at the quarterback room, and when Bryce Young shows up, you're like, all right, man. Hey, great knowing you guys.
That's right.
You don't want to wait,
That's right.
And he's had a good career too.
Well, that's what it's tough when a guy comes in younger than you, beats you out. You have no idea, how long they're going to stay, it just. You got to see it through 1 year and then see what happens.
Yeah. But I thought this was – I could tell Saban felt the same way I feel. This was fulfilling. You run to the student section. You talked about the video that got leaked,
Oh, yeah.
He gets the rivalries.
He loves the Tennessee rivalry. He's what? I think a couple of years ago, somebody asked him about which one carried more weight, Auburn or Tennessee, and he mentioned Tennessee being a bigger rivalry than Auburn.
Yeah, it is. They're doing their end now.
That's what some people. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I grew up with. I don't know who I hated more, Tennessee or Auburn.
You grew up and we kicked their ass all the time. I was in school, we lost to them all.
People that were old enough to understand the Philip Fulmer deal,
yeah,
because I didn't understand that until now. But when he snitched on everybody. That's when, there was a hate for Tennessee back in the day, but
yeah, there was.
That one really, I think that put it over the top for,
it did. It did. But
older people like you.
Yeah, thanks. I don't consider myself that old.
I'm kidding.
Then I look back and I'm like we were talking about like all the Tennessee games.
Well, you were in school. And
yeah. I had him on, I think I told you, I had him on my University of Alabama pregame show. I started a pregame show at Alabama.
He got pissed at you.
And he got pissed at me. And then he's like screaming at me. And I thank God it wasn't live. It was like recording it. And I'm like, holy shit. I just got like yelled at by Philip Fulmer.
It'd been pretty good for you had it been live.
You know what? The mistake was I should have just played it on the show. And he was going off.
Oh yeah, you should have played it.
I was so scared. I was like,
blew it. Do you still have it?
I have the interview. I don't know if I have that part of it.
Too bad.
Yeah, I know. You don't know better. You just don't know at that age. Like that's gold,
Oh yeah.
Back then I'm like, okay, well maybe this interview went over 5 minutes.
Now people do that just to get that kind of reaction.
They try to get the reaction.
Yeah.
I've actually met him. I know him. I like him. I've told you that. So it's what they're doing. Alabama is doing with Nick Saban is what he did. Not to the same level, but like run the football, play good defense, win at the line of scrimmage. Like the same shit wins.
Oh yeah.
Like the same shit wins. Like I don't know what I honestly I'm so torn on like what happened with the cheating and everything else because I just don't know.
Yeah.
I know that somebody within the athletic department sent stuff to the NCAA that they didn't have to send that got us in trouble, even more trouble from what I understand, allegedly. So maybe part of that's on us, and what we've kind of found out is, like you try to clean all that stuff up, but at the same time, you don't want to turn yourself in.
Oh yeah.
so I don't.
Less is more with the
I don't know, but what I like now is that the NCAA is so insignificant that it doesn't even matter anymore.
Well, that's the most corrupt organization. I just, again, if I don't know what happened with, kind of what happened with some of these guys. You're not going to get the best player 10 years ago while he was playing could have taken whatever money he wanted. It didn't matter because the NCAA wasn't going to take their money makers out of the game.
Right.
Until after they graduated and it was all over.
Yeah.
Reggie Bush, they could have
give him his Heisman back, man.
Yeah,
give him his Heisman back.
That is crazy to me.
The
I wouldn't have given it back.
Well, the other thing is like where they want to, like basically like not count wins. Get out of here with that. You know what, man? Like if you won on the field, you won the game. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not into all that.
I don't know. They gave me back my Ole Miss win, so I'll take that.
You guys went undefeated.
Got to tip my cap to Hugh Freeze. That's
Auburn's got some issues right now.
Yeah. Hugh Freeze gave me my first offer, and he gave me an undefeated season.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta appreciate that.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't even know that. I knew that they got.
And I'm joking about it. I love Hugh Freeze.
I know. You know all these guys.
Yeah, I love Hugh Freeze, but
different world. But I've never had an issue with him.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about him, and this is personal, is that when I heard the story that he made the girl with the Grateful Dead shirt take it off, I'm like.
I didn't hear. See,
that's where you start. Now that's where you cross the line with somebody like me. You start making people take their Grateful Dead gear off. Now we got a problem. We're not going to have those skeletons in here. Those bears, out of here.
All right, so that's where we're going to draw the line.
That's where I draw the line. That's where I was like, okay, I don't like this guy. He's not my kind of guy. If I was him, I would have been like, hey, where'd you get that? I like what you're doing.
I like what you're working with.
Yeah. Good taste. Good taste in tunes. I thought that this honestly, man, I enjoyed every bit of this, man. Every bit of it. I'm glad that they kicked our ass in the first half. Just to come back and win the second half.
Yeah, it was almost sweeter that, it was kind of like, because that kind of proved it was like, you had your best half and you could not have played better in the first half. We took all your shots and now we're just going to bully you till the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was. I mean, no doubt who the better team was. Joe Milton played the game of his life in the first half. And that was, I mean, they gave us their best shot.
The question I have now is I'm wondering who I think we got to have Georgia go undefeated. I really do feel like the SEC champ is not necessarily in the playoff if Georgia isn't number one and they win, or if we beat them, like as a one-loss team. Because if Florida State wins out and I think a one-loss Pac-12
Oregon,
team,
one-loss Oregon,
or Washington goes undefeated, they're in.
Yeah,
and Michigan's not going to lose, or Ohio State's not going to lose. One of those two's getting in. And I just feel like the SEC doesn't have enough premier programs this year. There's not a lot of SEC teams that are in the top 25, but you want Ole Miss to keep winning.
Yeah,
because that helps you.
Georgia. That's it.
And you got that game.
And Alabama, Georgia, they don't fit the narrative right now, Well,
they don't. But I would say
if Alabama and Georgia play any of those teams, though, they're going to play them close.
Yeah, right. And they'll probably win anyway, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's the optics.
No, I know. Yeah, it's all about. I tell you, maybe it's a good idea to what is it, Iowa? That offensive coordinator's got a contract where he's got to average a certain amount of points a game.
Yeah.
We just need to do that with everybody.
Yeah. Well, they had a guy say, hey, you got to get, style points matter if you're Alabama. And honestly, I believe that. You lose to you beat Arkansas, but it felt like a loss because you didn't finish the game. And then they go and score 3 points against Mississippi State at home. And then now all of a sudden that doesn't look like that great of a win. And but you know what? If you're Alabama, you still just got to take care of business. I mean, this LSU game, and we're not going to get into that today, but they're a tough team. They could beat us, but if you win, it's not that big of a win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that?
Well, the problem,
because they've lost twice.
If you look at Alabama and their full potential, if you think about when they've played at their best, there's not many teams that can beat them. But our problem is Achilles' heel is penalties, turnovers, just dumb football.
Yeah, that's right.
And, again, we keep teams in the game when we play stupid, and we've done it a lot. Then we go play Tennessee in the second half. And, again, that team right there, I don't know if anybody's beaten that team.
The second half Alabama?
Yeah.
It's a damn good team right there.
I mean, that's a top 4 team in the country, without a doubt.
Yeah. Saban might be doing his best job as a coach.
I think he loves coaching a team like this.
I do too.
I think he loves it.
I do too. I do too, man. I do too. I think the great coaches, I was a huge Gary Williams basketball fan. And when he was at Maryland, he was the same way. He's going to take the team and they're going to improve every single game and get better. Not everyone has that ability.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you think about last year's team, people were talking about how it was going to be the best Alabama team that had ever
megastars.
Had ever stepped on a football field.
2 megastars.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, that was one of the most disappointing seasons. And not to disrespect, that team, but, they
underachieved.
They didn't live up to the hype or live up to their standard.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I think they could have been the best team in the country, even with the 2 losses.
Had they played the whole year like they played against Kansas State when it seemed like they finally had a fire.
It was the Auburn game when when it was like we're more creative on offense.
Yeah.
That they turned the corner. I was so critical of it was just not creative enough.
Yeah.
Not saying Bill O'Brien's not a great coordinator or whatever. He's a great coach, but the game plans, when Lane was there, when Sark was there, when Loxley was there, even with the guy that's the coach of the Giants in the NFL, he's
Dable.
the creativeness.
Yeah.
And honestly, man, Tommy Rees is being creative.
Man,
you can see it coming.
This week was the first time I felt like, man, we gave him a lot to look at, a lot to digest in a short period of time. Motions, movements, different options, quarterback runs. That second half, it looked like Tennessee was having a hard time picking up all that motion, all that commotion.
Right. What are we doing?
It's hard to account for.
Where
all
are they
that.
going?
Yeah. And right. you can't dial up pressures. You can't be very dynamic on defense when you're sitting there thinking about, oh God, how do we cover all this? It's kind of like moving fast. I mean, I used to love 2-minute offense because you're hurrying up, lining up. Defenses couldn't communicate and have intricate pressures. When you move fast and you got a lot of shit going on, more stuff for the defense to digest, they just can't do as much. They can't be as creative on defense. I mean, at that point, it's, again, how do I cover this? How do I line up? And then how do I cover it? You're thinking less about, okay, this is where this guy is. This is where they're going to be. And I get to just rush the quarterback. It's more like, oh, shit, this guy's moving. Where is he covered? Are we good? Are we good?
Yeah, right.
Oh, God, now I got to rush.
Yeah,
right. It's all that movement, all that confusion. I love it.
2 4th-down stops in the game
that's another thing I'd talk about.
And they should have punted the damn ball both times.
Does it seem like, I feel like 4th down, going for it on 4th down has become so much more prevalent nowadays. And
because of video games.
And it's the dumbest. I guess. But
ball.
No, I'm glad. Hell, I'm glad he did it.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm sitting there like, whew. Man, you got to have some nuts to go for 4th on 4th here.
Well, especially when Tennessee's got a good defense too. Like it's a momentum thing. It's not just you give the ball away. It's like a turnover, but at the same time, it's momentum.
Oh yeah, it's you go for it on 4th down in some of those situations, and it's like, man, what are you trying to say? It's almost, if you're on defense, you're almost like, what are you trying to say, man?
Yeah, right.
I don't get all these 4th down to going for it on 4th down, and unless you're just dominant, rolling over this team, and you're trying to run out clock. It's just wild to me how these coaches are rolling the dice like they are.
Stadium was great. Saban gave them credit. Let's talk about some other games and wrap this up. How did you do? I was 2-2 this week.
I had a hell of a week outside of Auburn, my lock, I
took Auburn too, but it's a win for me.
Yeah, made no sense.
To be honest with you, it's a win. I told you that last week. I said, if they win or they cover, it's a win, and if they lose, it's a bigger win for me.
Yeah, if they lose, the Bugs still suck.
Yeah.
But no, I had let's see. Florida State, Alabama, who was my other one? And then I lost Auburn. And then, golly, who was the other one? This is an SEC.
That's a big win for Ole Miss, too. Like, to go in there and win. I saw Lane Kiffin's post-game, and he's right on the money. He's like, winning in here is tough.
Yeah.
Look at the statistics, and he's right.
Oh, yeah. You got
and they dominated the second half.
Yeah, it's loud, and you got, like you said, Auburn Jesus on your side.
I don't know what that guy is all about.
That's right.
I lost the USC. I thought USC would win and cover. They obviously didn't. They lost. And then but I felt like that was a coin flip. And then in the Ole Miss, Auburn, I won Alabama. I took Alabama, and then and I knew Ohio State was going to beat Penn State. Like I knew it. Like I told you, we wait for Penn State to win these games.
That was it. I had Ohio State.
Yeah, we both did, and I was really comfortable with that. And then I'm watching the game, and I'm like, I just don't think.
And I'll be honest,
the SEC beats those kind of teams.
Oh, I think so. Penn State to me is so overrated. And look, Ohio State beat a Notre Dame team that by 4 or 1.
Yeah, but at the end of the game on the last play, when they had 10 guys on the field.
Yeah, that's not. They're not all that good.
Yeah,
again, you got the elite teams. Alabama can be one of them. Ohio State can be elite. It just depends on where they end up at the end of the year.
Okay. Final thoughts before we wrap it up on on a cigar show.
Hey, Tennessee plays the game of their life in the first half. Defense shows up, does everything they can to keep them below 20 points. And then here comes Jalen in the second half and wears their ass out.
I love it. I love it. Guys, don't forget, elephant in the room. Make sure that you're a subscriber to Roll Tide Pods. Comment. Love to hear from you guys. And don't forget, we're brought to you by MyBookie. Use the promo code next round for the 100 or the 110% match if it's your first bet. I think it's a pretty good deal. MyBookie.ag. And if you need any help with your picks, Lance's Lock. Check them out. Jake, fun show, man.
Enjoy it every time.
They go fast.
I know.
I got to get you out.
Like I've been in here in 15 minutes.
I know. It's
been
like
here for 15 minutes.
We're normally like, let's keep going. You know? All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us and Roll Tide. We'll talk to you again this week.